Welcome back to Chiefs Live, brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers. Joining us now is the 12th head coach in Kansas City Chiefs history, Romeo Crennel. And Rack, let me be, well, probably not the first by now to say congratulations.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate that. I'm excited for the opportunity, looking forward to working with the young men in their locker room and the people in the organization, and hopefully we can head toward that championship that we all would love to have.
Before we talk about moving forward, let's go back. Almost a month ago, December 12th, Todd Haley's relieved of his duties as head coach, and you're called in and asked to be the interim head coach for the final 3 games. Take us to that morning and what's going through your head at that time, and how you said, well, I'm going to go forward in a situation that most people would find very difficult.
Well, the thing that was primarily on my mind was getting the film graded, from the previous game. Because you have to get those grades done. And so that was the main thing. And then I got called into the office and was told that a change was going to be made and what I consider being the interim coach, for the last 3 games. And because I've had head coaching experience, I said I would. And then I knew right away that, everything that goes along with being the head coach, the other duties that are not football related, had to get taken care of, as well as still doing some football, So that was a little hectic, but it was good. And probably the most daunting thing was the Green Bay Packers were coming to town, and they were undefeated, and everybody felt like that they were definitely going to win that game, And so we had a work cut out for us, but our guys rallied around, pulled together, and had a great performance. Against Green Bay, and we were able to win that game at Arrowhead in front of our fans, and that was just great, And so then it was good from there.
Yeah, that Green Bay game's one. I think the fan base and hopefully the players will spring forward to 2012 and beyond. Obviously, you're very excited right now, and that's a given. But this is your second chance at it, and you're taking over a team where in-house, they've rallied around you, these players. How exciting does that make it that these guys are going to be ready to come into work when you start the off-season program?
Well, it's always exciting. Well, football is exciting for me because I'm a career football guy. But to know that the players in the locker room are excited when they come to work, that's important because they have a chance to play better for you, produce better when that occurs. So that is definitely exciting. Now, with that being said, every year's a new year, and we got free agency, we got the draft, and we got all those things that have to come together. But I think because of the plan that's already in place by Mr. Hunt and Mr. Pioli, that we have a good plan and we've got a good foundation that's been started. Now we can build on that foundation as we try to develop a championship team.
We saw some minor changes for the final 3 games, but for the most part, you kept things pretty status quo, and you said you would make your bigger imprint on this team in kind of your form if you were given the head coaching job at the end of the season. Now that you have that job, what is your first order of business from January 9th on through the rest of this offseason?
Well, it always starts with evaluation. We have to evaluate the players on the team, their performances during the course of the year. We have to evaluate our staff. We have to evaluate the running of the organization and how things are being done, and if we want to tweak some things. And as it was shown the last 3 games, there wasn't a tremendous amount of change, but we tweaked a little bit, and our guys performed at a good level for us. So over wholesale change probably is not going to happen. There may be some tweaks here and there, and hopefully we can move forward.
As you develop your staff and move forward, what's something you can take from your experience in Cleveland that you definitely want to bring right here to Kansas City? And what's maybe something that is better left behind in that first job as you get the second time around here?
Well, I'll tell you what, I know that the thing that's best left behind is losing games. All right, so let's leave all that behind and let's go forward with winning games. Because in this business, we all want to win, and we want our guys to play hard and be very competitive. And so if we can get that done, that will be a positive for us.
Over the last month, we've seen this team really be charged with energy. We heard Scott say in the press conference today that those final games played a big role in your hiring as head coach. There was accountability. He liked the leadership. As far as your relationship with Scott, how has that grown over the last month and through this interview process. And Clark was on just before you and said he was sold on you, partly for those games, but he really liked your formal interview that you had with him and Scott as well. So how have you and Scott grown through this past month?
Well, you know what? This partnership that we have has to be a partnership. You know, the GM and the head coach, they have to work closely together. And over the last month, that's what's been happening with Scott and myself. You know, we talk about player things, we talk about team things, we talk about organizational things that help get us on the same page. And if we're on the same page, then we have a chance to look a lot better, to operate more smoothly. And so we've developed that closeness over this last month, and I believe it will continue as we go forward.
You said search is ongoing for possibly a defensive coordinator, possibly an offensive coordinator. East-West Shrine Bowl is coming up. You have the Senior Bowl. There's some player contract situations that are going to come up over these next few months. There's a lot on your plate right now, Romeo, going forward. You know, when do you start attacking it? Right when you're off this set?
Oh yes, you have to start right away, and started earlier this morning. As a matter of fact, you know, beginning to talk to guys to find out what their thought process was, and that will help develop some of the moves that we make. You know, and as we go forward. But the players, player development, player acquisition is always huge. And so with free agency, we have to, you know, evaluate the free agents, look at other free agents, and see how we want to continue to build this team.
Coach, congratulations once again. And Chiefs fans, when we come back on Chiefs Live, brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers, Mitch Holthus will sit down with Joe Manager Scott Pioli. We'll take a quick break and be right back at you right here from the 65 Toss Power Trap Studios.